Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, June the 18th, and tonight we're going to continue learning about that important mindset. I want to thank everybody that has joined us here, and for those of you that are watching it recorded tomorrow, enjoy. So I'll share my screen now. Cover a little bit of homework first here. Kelly, we picked a name for our team. We call ourselves the Habit Champions, and the coaches in the room are Denise and Dorothy. Denise is actually Dorothy's coach, and Lisa and Martha are my coaches, and Dorothy. Let me not forget Dorothy. So we call our team of coaches the Habit Champions. And there they are. I could have just pulled this up and look at it. So you can see the progress we've all made. Denise, you've been in how long and how much have you lost?
16 weeks, 43 pounds.
Okay. And I got in 2010, 70 pounds. Marsha Pickering?
I was August 11th, I believe, or 19th. In 2011.
Yeah. And the pounds you lost?
Originally 59.
Okay.
And then my husband.
Go ahead.
My husband went on it when he saw how well I did, and he lost 89 pounds.
Wow.
I know. And Dorothy?
I lost 40 pounds in 2011.
And Lisa?
The latest loss is 42 pounds, but I've gained and lost over 900 in my adult life, so that's why I'm motivated to keep it.
And it's all about those new habits, isn't it?
They're working.
Yeah. So tomorrow night, June 19th, it's every Wednesday night. We have a Habits of Health call. They do record it, and I usually get it posted the following Tuesday. So if you don't catch it live, this week's is about breaking free. And catching it live is fun because you get to interact. Last week's was about Stop Challenge Choose. Kelly actually finished the ebook, which was great. So he understands the Stop Challenge Choose. And if you missed last week, it is now posted. And we've been doing about mindset. And Dr. Carol Dweck is the author of that book. And in our new Habits of Health books that we have, they're still not available to clients. They will be in the future. Right now, they're training the coaches in how to use them. But Dr. A, on the very first page of the life book, he says, one of the biggest and most powerful realizations we ever have is to know that our life path is not fixed. The way you think, the way you act, the people you spend time with, and even the world you live in can all be changed. All things are possible. You have the capability over time with specific focus, guidance, practice to become the dominant force in your life. And that's Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. Does anyone have their life book accessible? Dorothy, Denise, Lisa, Martha?
Mine is right here.
Okay, can you turn to page 7 and just read that for us? And I'll stop share while we're doing that.
Turn the light on, honey. There for me.
That's better.
Page 7?
Uh-huh.
Okay, starting from the top.
Please.
Okay, from where you sit today, you might rightly think, what am I saying? Is it right? What I am saying isn't possible. You might ask exactly how I can have a clue about your life. In fact, you're probably thinking I'm a bit full of myself. Well, I know we've only just started this book together, but I need to tell you that you're wrong. Years ago, things were different. I was certainly different, but that was a long time ago. Today, I'm full of confidence and certainty in my approach and understanding, which is based on the firsthand experience of thousands of people from every walk of life who have transformed their lives. These people are not strangers. They are my family, my friends, and a community of clients and coaches who all made a decision to take control of their health and lives. What they share is willingness to reach out for help and embrace a different way of approaching their lives. Their approach has gone from focusing on what's wrong in their lives to in a mindset of asking, how can I change? What do I need to learn? And how can I include others in my journey? These individuals have rewritten their stories so they are essential characters in amazing journeys of transformation. I'll share some of their stories as part of the Habits of Health experience. Today, reading this, you now have the opportunity to write the next chapter of your health and your life. Believe me, I understand that the idea may seem scary based on your past experiences. You might not even think it's something you can do. In this chaotic and unstable world, in times of accelerated change, everything seems to be beyond your control. Your life does not have to be one of those things.
What is that? Page 7, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for reading that. And I think because of us covering mindset, I just wanted to share that that's exactly what we're doing is all about. And mindset is probably first and foremost of the most important thing we can do for ourselves. And I think we all have shifted our mindsets as we've gone through this, whether you just started like Kelly or those of us that have been in for a while. So we'll go back and share again. And this is a TED Talk, and he actually is referring to Dr. DeWitt's book here. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let me know if you can't hear it. If you can hear it, just let it be.
What do you think is the key to achieving our goals, our success? Some people suggest things like hard work, focus, persistence. But research shows these are all byproducts of something else, something much more powerful that we can all develop. It is this very special something that really is critical to success, and is what I'm here to discuss with you today. Someone who has achieved great success is Josh Waitzkin, a chess international master and the subject of the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer. Nobody has won all the national chess championships that Josh has. But even more impressive, when he turned 21, he took on the challenge of mastering something completely new and very different from chess: martial arts. He realized that he had learned how to grow and succeed, and he could apply that understanding to other domains. And so, he devoted himself relentlessly to Tai Chi Chuan. And after lots of hard work, many failures, and some broken joints, he became a great martial artist, and he won 2 world championships. Now he's off to Jiu-Jitsu. So what does Josh say is the greatest thing that ever happened to him? Believe it or not, he says, losing my first national chess championship, because it helped me avoid many of the psychological traps. The key trap that Josh avoided was believing that he was special, that he was smarter than other people, and that he didn't have to work hard. He could have thought of himself as a prodigy, but he doesn't think that he has extraordinary intelligence. He says, the moment we believe that success is determined by an ingrained level of ability, we will be brittle in the face of adversity. Josh often quotes Stanford professor Carol Dweck, who discovered that some people see intelligence or abilities as fixed, what is called a fixed mindset, while other people see them, as Josh does, as qualities that can be developed, a growth mindset. More important, Dr. Dweck discovered that these 2 different mindsets lead to very different behaviors and results. In a study she did with Dr. Lisa Blackwell, several hundred 7th graders were surveyed to determine which mindset each student had, and then they were tracked for 2 years. Results showed that the students with a growth mindset, those who thought they could change their own intelligence, increased their grades over time, while those with a fixed mindset did not. You can see the trend. The gap in performance just widens and widens over time. The difference between these 2 groups? A different perspective on intelligence. Other studies have shown similar effects for our mindset about other abilities, like problem solving, playing sports, managing people, or anything else you'd like. Dancing la Macarena. The key to success is not simply effort or focus or resilience, but it is the growth mindset that creates them. The mindset itself is critical. Research shows that when we directly try to build grit or persistence, it is not nearly as effective as addressing the mindset that underlies them. How many of us think of ourselves as not math people, or creative, or sociable, or athletic, or conversely, that we're naturals? If we're to fulfill our potential, we have to start thinking differently. We have to realize that we're not chained to our current capabilities. Neuroscience shows that the brain is very malleable, and we can change our own ability to think and to perform. In fact, many of the most accomplished people of our era were thought of by experts to have no future. People like Charles Darwin, Lucille Ball, Marcel Proust, and many others. But they, along with all great achievers, from Mozart to Einstein, built their abilities. But the key insight that I would like you to walk away with today is that when we realize that we can change our own abilities, when we have a growth mindset, we bring our game to new levels. So how does a growth mindset do that? It turns out that there are physiological manifestations to mindset. Brain scans show that for people with a fixed mindset, the brain becomes most active when receiving information about how the person performed, such as a grade or a score. But for people with a growth mindset, the brain becomes most active when receiving information about what they could do better next time. In other words, people with a fixed mindset worry the most about how they're judged, while those with a growth mindset focus the most on learning. There are other consequences of mindset. People with a fixed mindset see effort as a bad thing, something that only people with low capabilities need, while those with a growth mindset see effort as what makes us smart, as the way to grow. And when they hit a setback or failure, people with a fixed mindset tend to conclude that they're incapable. So to protect their ego, they lose interest or withdraw. We observe that as lack of motivation, but behind it is a fixed mindset. Whereas people with a growth mindset understand that setbacks are part of growth. So when they hit one, they find a way around it, like Josh Waitzkin did when he lost in chess or in martial arts. Research clearly shows these effects of mindset. In one study that Dr. Dweck did with Dr. Claudia Mueller, they had children do a set of puzzles. And then they praised the kids. To some of the kids, they said, "Wow, that's a really good score. You must be smart at this." That's fixed mindset praise because it portrays intelligence or abilities as a fixed quality. To other kids, they said, "Wow, that's a really good score. You must have tried really hard." That's growth mindset praise because it focuses on the process. Then they asked the kids, "Okay, what kind of puzzle would you like to do next? An easy one or a hard one?" The majority of the kids who received the fixed mindset praise chose to do the easy puzzle, while the great majority of those who received the growth mindset praise chose to challenge themselves. Then the researchers gave a hard puzzle to all of the kids because they were interested in seeing what confronting difficulty would do to their performance. Look at what happened when the kids later went back to the set of easier problems that they started with. The kids who received the fixed mindset praise did significantly worse than they had originally, while those who received the growth mindset praise did better. And to top it off, at the very end, kids were asked to report their scores. And the kids who received the fixed mindset praise lied about their scores over 3 times more often than those who received the growth mindset praise. They did not have another way to cope with their failure. The difference between these two groups? One short little sentence. How often do we praise kids for being smart or for being great at something? We've been told that this will raise their self-esteem, but instead, it puts them in a fixed mindset. They become afraid of challenges and they lose confidence when things get hard. As Josh Waitzkin says, it is incredibly important for parents to make their feedback process related, as opposed to praising or criticizing talent. If we win because we're a winner, then when we lose, it must make us a loser. These studies show not only the mechanisms by which mindset affects performance, but they also show something else that's very important. They show that we can change mindsets. And that's important because most of us have fixed mindsets about something. Another study that showed that we can change mindsets is one in which Dweck and Blackwell did a workshop with 7th graders to instill a growth mindset in them. As a result of the workshop, the students gained more interest in learning and they worked harder. And as a result of that, their grades improved. Other studies have shown that when we teach a growth mindset, not only does it improve achievement for students as a whole, but it also narrows the achievement gap because the effects are most pronounced for the students who face negative stereotypes, such as minority students and girls in math. I've spoken mostly about children, but mindset affects all of us. In our workplaces, managers with fixed mindsets don't welcome feedback as much, and they don't mentor employees as much. And employees with growth mindsets about specific skills like negotiations become far better at those skills than people with fixed views. Mindsets can even help us solve big social issues. A recent study showed that when we expose Israelis and Palestinians to the idea that groups can change, they increase their attitudes toward one another, they improve them, and they enhance their willingness to compromise and to work for peace. We also see the effects of mindsets on relationships, sports, health. How is it possible that as a society, we're not asking schools to develop a growth mindset in children? Our myopic efforts to teach them facts, concepts, and even critical thinking skills is likely to fail if we don't also deliberately teach them the essential beliefs that will allow them to succeed, not only in school, but also beyond. There's a lot that we can do to change mindsets, but here are 3 things that any of us can do to instill a growth mindset in ourselves and in those around us. First, recognize that the growth mindset is not only beneficial, but it's also supported by science. Neuroscience shows that the brain changes and becomes more capable when we work hard to improve ourselves. Second, learn and teach others about how to develop our abilities. Learn about deliberate practice and what makes for effective effort. When we understand how to develop our abilities, we strengthen our conviction that we're in charge of them. And third, listen for your fixed mindset voice. And when you hear it, talk back with a growth mindset voice. If you hear, I can't do it, add, yet. My request to you today is that you share this knowledge about the growth mindset with your family, friends, and schools, so that all of us can go and fulfill our potential.
Dorothy, would you be so kind as to read this?
How can this be? How can a simple belief have the power to transform your psychology and as a result your life? Beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy. Human beings have the awesome ability to take any experience of their lives, past life or present, and create a meaning that disempowers them or one that can literally save their lives. Tony Robbins.
So, I thought, who do I have a familiarity with that I thought their mindset impacted not just themselves, but everybody around them and the world at large? And this is the son of Christopher Reeves. And the mindset you hold profoundly affects the way you live your life. It can determine if you become the person you want to be or whether you accomplish the things you value. And I think this is the best example we could show of how important your mindset is.
This is the first time I've ever discussed any of this with anybody. I'm very protective of my own story. I think about my dad on Father's Day, but I think about my dad every day. I think about how great of a person my dad was, how much I looked up to him, how much I enjoyed just being with him.
To the rest of the world, Will Reeves' dad was just Superman.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
And by the time he married Will's mom, Dana, in 1992, they were one of the country's hottest celebrity couples. 2 months after they tied the knot, Will was born, joining his half-brother and sister as Superman's kids.
I didn't think of them as what other people thought of them as. They were just my parents. They were the people who told me to turn off the TV, to eat my broccoli, to go to bed. I understood that not every child experiences then going to the grocery store and seeing their dad on the magazine at the checkout aisle. It was a totally normal childhood for me, which I understand sounds kind of ridiculous to some when you consider the facts that not only was my dad a public figure, a movie star, he was also probably the most famous paralyzed person on the planet.
In 1995, America's Superman was thrown from his horse and broke his neck. He forever lost the ability to walk or breathe without a respirator.
The fact that he was paralyzed did present its own set of challenges because we couldn't be spontaneous. That can be difficult, but I never felt deprived of a normal childhood, even though my experiences at face value were inherently different from other children my age. My dad taught me how to ride a bike from his wheelchair. My dad decided, you know what, Will, we're going outside and you're learning how to ride a bike just by listening to what I say. And he goes, okay, when I say go, you push down with your right foot, put your left foot on the pedal, and just go, 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 and keep your arms straight and your eyes straight ahead. And I didn't believe it was gonna work. I'm terrified, but I have my dad's voice behind me going, steady, steady. Left, right, left, right. I do one lap, I'm scared, I'm wobbly, I'm unsure of myself. The second lap, I'm going a little faster, I'm a little more certain. By the third lap, I'm smiling, looking at my dad, I'm waving. He's smiling, going, oh my God, that meant so much to him. Later on, I would race him in the wheelchair. He would let me win. I've always been a huge sports fan. I've never been that great at sports, but he would always just leave me with this barrage of compliments, which looking back, you know, I cherish more than anything.
Will also cherished his mom, an endless source of strength.
My mom was one of the most courageous people I've ever had the privilege to know. She was the pillar for our family because there was so much chaos reigning around us. My mom just kept going forward.
I would not be where I am today with the positive outlook that I have and the sense of real hope and purpose if it were not for Dana.
She dedicated every day of her life to making sure that my dad and I were okay.
Christopher and Dana's determination inspired so many and led to the work of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. 1 year after his accident, Christopher Reeve appeared at the Oscars to a standing ovation. He used the moment as a call for action.
Hollywood needs to do more.
My dad was obsessed every day with finding a cure for spinal cord injury so that he might get up and walk again, and he truly believed that he would. That is what sustained him.
And now to the actor, Christopher Reeve, who died yesterday at the age of 52.
Late yesterday, she died of lung cancer at the age of 44.
My role at the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation has evolved and grown in recent years, which makes me so happy and proud. I'm an ambassador for my generation, for young people to get involved. My dad was on the cover of People for being one of the 25 most intriguing people of the year. I totally get why it would be intriguing. There was a lot to learn from my dad. He was a deep, complex person. And there was a lot to learn from how he lived his life and how he carried himself. I hope that I make my parents proud, and I know that I try to every day, and I like to think that they would be proud of me. I do know that the only thing that I can control is myself and living up to their legacy, and if I do that, we'll be all good.
The only thing we can control is ourselves. Yeah. So you reckon they had a positive mindset? Growth mindset?
Totally.
Yeah. So intelligence is something you have or don't have. Fixed mindset, right? Intelligence is something you are able to develop. That's with the growth mindset. So you can read these, avoid taking on challenges or embrace challenges. Quit or give up easily or never give up. Be highly self-critical or practice self-compassion. How are you going to have compassion for others when you don't have it for yourself? Mm-hmm. See effort as pointless or see effort as a journey. You know, it's never going to be perfect. We all know that. Disregard criticism or learn from all criticism. Resent the success of others or be inspired by others' success. Criticize and judge others or help and nurture others. Argue our limitations or believe in our possibilities. It's all a choice. The two mindsets, the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. It can determine if you become the person you want to be and whether you accomplish the things you value. The only person you are destined to be is the person you decide to be. And just because you decide one day doesn't mean you might not fall off the horse on another day. But that decision, when it's firmly in place, you'll get right back up and on that horse. You can rewire your brain. So now we'll share our thoughts, and we'll talk about reality shifts that we've each had. And I will start with two that are profound to me. And my first one was my sister Mary. That's Mary in the upper right-hand corner. And I probably shared the story with everyone, but I'll do it with pictures now. And it was definitely a mind shift for me, because when Mary first found out about our program, she was on vacation with us. She looked like she did in the left picture, but she was carrying around Dr. A's book, trying to talk to me. She even tried to give me bars, and I wasn't interested. I was on vacation, and I was eating whatever I wanted to eat. And I had long since given up on losing weight. I had grandparents that were big. I'd been thin my whole life, and now here in my later life, I had gotten big. My two older sisters had always been big, so Mary got big, I got big, so I just come to the conclusion that our grandmothers were big. It was in our genes, and that was just the way it was going to be, and I couldn't fight this the rest of my life, and I had to accept it. That's where I was. And then I got on Facebook one day, just a few months after I had been on vacation with my sister, and I saw this picture of her. And it was profound. And I knew that if she could do it, because I knew her, I knew then it would only be because of me that I wouldn't succeed. I knew it was possible. Now I had to apply myself. That was one mind shift I had. The big mind shift I had was when I got on the program. I started on a Thursday, and there was a block party here behind me. And I wasn't going to go because I didn't want to be tempted. I didn't want to lose the momentum I had just in those 2 days. And Tony made the statement that, so now that you're doing this program, does that mean we're never going to go and do anything with our neighbors again? And I'm going to stop and share here. And I said, because of what he said, no, I'll go. And we went, and I was sitting there, and as I was sitting in the chair and looking at that beautiful table of desserts and yummy foods, I started thinking it was only Thursday, that I could start on Monday. And then I had the second thought of I had only just started, and I was already looking for the way out, and I stopped. And so then I didn't do it. And then I started realizing just how many calories I would have consumed that day. And that was a big day for me too. And then I had no problems from then forward. But that was definitely mind shifting for me. So those are two examples I can give. And I will pass to I'll pass to Lisa, and I would say you can either comment on the content tonight, or both, or some mind shift that has happened to you in this process.
Well, the growth mindset, I like to think I have always had a growth mindset. It was just interrupted by getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder and being discharged from the military. But as I've shared with the rest of you before, and I just shared already, I've gained and lost over 900 pounds, 150 pounds, 120 pounds, 100 pounds. And even in the 5 years I've been on this program, I've got to my goal weight and bounced back up. It's profound to me how when you're going through that, it's like I was doing things because I didn't want to not feel good. I didn't want to be heavy. My focus was on things I didn't want. And hence I lost weight, I put it back on, lost weight, put it back on. This past year, I made up my mind that I was going to do things differently. So it took me a year, but I sat down and I wrote it down. I said, this is what I want. In January, I said, this is where I want to be in December. And it was 140 pounds, a healthy BMI, and I forget what the waist measurement, but whatever it was I wrote down, I made it, and I had a moment where I was like, oh, wow, structural tension worked. So now I'm on the structural tension, which to me goes along with the fixed mindset. But the most important shift for me has been, I think about what I do want every day. I want to be able to take care of myself. I want to enjoy my family. I want the renewed relationship I have with my children. So when I'm focused on where I'm going versus where I don't want to be, then my daily choices are more fruitful for me. And that's been my shift.
Thank you, Lisa.
And I will pass to Bird Mom.
I always wince when it comes to me. I know.
You can feel free to pass if you want, but I always learn from your contribution.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I still have pretty much a fixed mindset. I'm trying to break free from it because everything that's on the fixed mindset side, that's me. And it's held me back in life from doing a lot of things that I really think I could have accomplished. I'm embarrassed to say so, but I'm really trying to break out of it. And that picture of the table you showed before, I saw the same thing, and I looked at it, and then I walked back home. I said, we're not doing this. I walked away.
Do you have a mindset that you have shifted, even though we all, by the way, still have fixed mindsets, and some of our fixed mindsets that we have actually grown out of, they'll still kick in, and we have to that's above the below the line thinking, like Gay did, and so that fixed mindset will kick in with me many times, and then I'll remember Gay whispered in my ear above the line thinking, and so and I'm getting better at that without it happening and then me having to correct it. But I know some things where you've grown in big ways, but I just wonder if you know what they are.
Sometimes, I don't know. But basically, I mean, things about intelligence, or if I try to learn something, I always feel like I have like a learning disability because I can't learn this. I can't understand it. And I avoid it.
You just can't understand it yet.
Just when you try to teach me Mahjong, I never came back because I felt stupid. That's me. That's the fix.
So can we explore a little with you, Marsh? When they were talking about as a child and when parents are raising their children, I'm just curious, were you praised for doing something well, or were you encouraged to learn? Can you remember even back then?
I don't know. I really don't remember because in school I was always slower, and I always needed remedial help, like in math and stuff like that.
But everybody does. Nothing came to me easy. I applied myself. But here's where I will say to you, and if anybody else wants to add one, the big one for me with you is that you are really discouraged and down on yourself about your weight. And even after you had lost your weight, you were. And then the second time when you lost your weight, I've never heard any of that. So something shifted in that you are not the person who lost your weight and gained your weight with me, because this time you are a completely different person. So that would be a mind shift that I'm personally witnessing.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Absolutely. And you have arrived there. So if you can take that one exercise that you did there and you changed, you flipped the switch is what I like to say, and that other thought is not anywhere in you anymore. You used to worry that it might not be completely changed, but you don't even worry about that anymore. So know you have changed.
Right.
Yeah, that's excellent. So you can see how that applies in other places. Who you want to pass to, and thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'd like to pass it to Tony.
Oh my, okay. You woke me up there. No.
I know.
No. Mindset, you were talking, Marsha, about, math or school, you didn't do that. I've always been a terrible speller. I could never spell. I don't know why, but I learned a lot. People say I'm very intelligent, but spelling was a problem with me. So my answer to that was, get me a dictionary, carry a dictionary. Wherever you go, you need to write, get a dictionary, find the word. So I went through whole school, from middle school to high school to college to a master's degree, being a lousy speller, having to write a lot of stuff, but I wrote well because I had that dictionary. So I told myself, I can do this. I don't have to say, well, I can't spell. Who's going to help me?
The learning mindset.
I can't write that. I can't do that, because I can't spell. No, I did the other. I found a book that would help me. Dictionary, that was the book that I carry all over. I also learned that if I read something and there was a word that I did not understand, I had to stop, get the dictionary, find out what that word was so I could understand, so I could continue to read whatever I was reading in the paragraph. Because if I didn't do that, I would not learn that paragraph. So you have to go forward. And that's it. So,
the learning mindset.
Yeah, go learn. Learning is, Connie says, I learned this and I want to do this, and I'm constantly trying to learn, because otherwise we'll stop learning.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So you don't have to say, well, I can't do math. Yes, you can.
Yet.
Don't try it, do it. Don't try it, do it. That's my answer. Don't try.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to Marsha up there in the corner from New York, upstate New York. She's way up in New York.
New York. I'm up in New York freezing, Tony. No, it's been better. I think when I first went on the program, I had a really major mindset change, because I was ready to, accept that this was like Connie. This is what's going to happen. Diabetes was in my family, and I had a great mindset. And basically, over the years, I have maintained that mindset as far as my health-wise until last year when I lost Dick. And I just gave up. And I am so thankful that we were doing that. I wasn't going to even do the last series we had with Gay, but it has made such a difference in my life. I know Connie and my kids and everybody was really concerned about me, and I just didn't care. And when I saw that chart of the below and above line, and I noticed that, there was only a couple of things I was above the line on. And I said, I can't go on this way. I still fall back into this set mindset every once in a while, but I really have come a long ways in the past probably 5 months. And it has made such a difference. And I am enjoying myself now. I don't enjoy the weather, but I can't change that. My mindset isn't going to help that at all. But I have learned that when it's bad, I just find something else to do. I've been working on my computer. I've been working on getting things organized. So I have definitely felt a big difference. And I think my kids and things can see it too.
Well, thank you, Marsha. Who you passing to, Denise or Dorothy?
Denise.
Denise.
Thank you. Gosh, this was all great. Every bit of this was wonderful. I can't do it yet, and to use that, and I will be using it. But just yesterday, I was at work, and I said, here I'm going to Bible study tonight they're having a party again. I said, man, it's nothing but parties. Do you realize how many parties I've been through in the last?
I do.
And I said, and then, and I'm thinking, like when first my mind went to like, when it ends, you'll eat. And I went, no, I am not going to eat that way. Not that I won't ever have a snack. I'm not saying that, but I don't need every party. I don't need all of that. And it really, it just popped in my mind, and I thought, no, I'm not going to go switch back to eating a different way. I'm going to, have my mind, a growth mindset of eating healthy and being determined to that. And everybody's stories here. So I just love hearing everybody's and their growth and where everybody's at. And it's exciting. I'm so sorry I even missed last week. I like to, because be on these because it's encouraging and you learn so much. And there was a lot to tonight's, there's just a lot. And I was thinking at first, I was like, I have a fixed mindset, and there's areas in my life that I do. And, I like that praise and all of that. And then, but I know that I've changed too. And I like to grow, and I like new things. And I can hear things when I feel like I can't do it, but I can do it. It may be right not yet, but I'm gonna. So yeah, I'm gonna. So anyway, it's all good. It's all good. And I'm gonna turn this right on over to Dorothy, my coach, my sweetie coach.
Well, thank you for sharing, Denise. That was wonderful.
I found the information very interesting because I've always encouraged my children when they've gotten good grades. I praised them for good grades, but and I don't think that it has stopped them, but I found what they had to say interesting, because I guess there's more than one way of saying, that you did a good job, because my kids are pretty much have a growth mindset. But I can remember back that I wanted them to get good grades. I wanted them to see that on paper. So it was interesting to see what effect that does have. Yeah. I have a growth mindset. I'm always wanting to learn something new.
Yeah. And learning seems to be the key here.
Yeah.
I would like to add that the importance of but it doesn't matter where you are in your current mindset, because we learn about location. What's really powerful about this is once you grasp the principle of growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and that's in your thought processes, then even if you are in a fixed mindset, you start to recognize what is a fixed mindset thought, and you can start to shift to the growth mindset. But if you don't know that, then you're just going along in that fixed mindset pattern, and you don't know the difference. So there's a lot of power in even knowing which is which and being able to recognize where you're at. Wanted to add that.
When I asked myself that question, I didn't want to use, I wanted it to be a powerful example of someone who had the right mindset accomplishing something that was to the rest of the world impossible. And I don't know why Christopher Reeves came to my mind, but he did, because I always admired him. And I kept saying, how can someone who was Superman yesterday, good looking, the whole world was at his feet. And in the blink of an eye, his life changed. And you didn't see him skip a beat. He still was a dad. He still was a husband. He still was a man. And he still gave to the world. He contributed to science. There's people who have spinal cord injuries today that have the benefit of everything they learned from him. And think of the opposite if he had been a person who felt sorry for himself and felt like there was no reason to go on. The two difference in those mindsets. And
there is a movie about the person who developed the wheelchair that carried oxygen. And it is an amazing movie about the actual person, and I can't remember the name, who actually invented a chair so he could get out of bed.
Yeah.
And that was a good story, a very good story.
You mean for Christopher Reeves? Yeah, there were a lot of things.
Well,
Really?
it's a movie of the actual record. It's a real life story. I think it's on Netflix. Person who invented that chair to be able to go get out of bed and put oxygen on it, because everybody who had that problem lived in an iron lung at one time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so his wife took him out, he said, I want out of here. His wife took him out of the hospital. And he and his friends invented chairs and made chairs so the people in iron lungs could get out. It was an amazing story.
Yeah. But it gets back to the obstacle is the way,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to contribute anything else?
Connie, Sunday at church, they showed a movie, and the last name is Hoy, and his son was born with cerebral palsy. And when he was a teen, he said he wanted to run in a marathon. And they made a point of, his dad did not say, well, how are you going to? You can't walk. You have no, his legs were like in braces and everything. I mean, in braces that he could not even get out of the wheelchair. And his father invented a wheelchair and a bicycle. And they ran, I think the number was 53 Boston marathons. They went cross country with a wheelchair and a bike in 45 days. And stuff, and it showed the boy when they were running one of the first marathons, and I can't remember the total number they ran over the years, but
I remember that.
whole point she made was he never said to him, no, what do you mean you want to run in a marathon? How are you going to do that? You can't walk. He made a way for his son to, and it's a marvelous, marvelous story.
So we talk about awakening. And that's what I hope that we do with not just about mindset, but all of the different things that Dr. A is going to be bringing out in this life book and the New Habits of Health book. And I know I am benefiting from it greatly, and I can't wait to share it with clients. So it looks like after convention that might be a possibility. But amazing, amazing. And I hope everybody feels more encouraged and more able to do things that they otherwise might not think they can do. And just think of what is possible, and only through you, by you overcoming your obstacles, that can benefit not only you, but anybody else who has your same problems. And so by choosing to learn, as opposed to feeling like it's hopeless, there is something there for everyone. That's how I feel.
The power of yet.
The power of yet. I love Denise was saying that. Yet. That's cool. That's our new word. Yet. All right, kiddos. We'll see you in the room. I'm enjoying all the comments. I love that Janae was in there today. I have missed her. That was really cool. We'll talk later, kids.
Okay. Bye.
Have a good one.